Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Cleveland Browns halftime report with the score: the Browns 13 and the Cardinals nothing. Uh, this is not so different than what we thought. Let me know, do you think my camera is kind of blurry? I've been having all kinds of grief with this thing, and I don't know why. I'm going to try to do something here if I can. Uh, there was nothing in this whole thing. There, there was nothing in the half that really surprises me. There are two things I can tell you. One is that Deshaun Watson is damaged goods and he's not himself. And the second thing is that the the Browns have no discernible passing offense. And it's a bizarre collection of three tight ends and guys running the wrong patterns and guys without great hands and guys who don't get separation. So it really doesn't matter who's the quarterback, I don't think. When all is said and done, we're just not a good offensive football team. As for Deshaun Watson, he's messed up. And it may be more than his shoulder that's messed up. It may be his head that's messed up. The ball that he threw down the field to Goodwin was a duck. And, the pass that he threw to Amari Cooper looked fine. And that's Cade Yorkish. You know what I mean? I'd say that something not right. And when I see a quarterback who we know is more capable than this, play like this, maybe that's why my camera looked fuzzy. Wrong glasses. The balls are not, they're behind people. They're going toward the ground. There's a lack of confidence in his throwing motion. He was doing this routine with his arm. It's in his head a lot. And he still looks off, Jim. But how much of it is real and how much of this is the last couple of years in this guy's life, and if he's ever really going to get it together, I really don't know. And that's right. The passes are low and wide. And it is a little bit painful to watch, to tell you the truth. The Browns' running game hasn't been horrible whatsoever, but, you can start keying on that. And that becomes a problem. Right now, as it sits, Deshaun Watson is 11 of 20 for 136 yards and a 92.9 rating. He has not thrown the interception. He damn well could have. I don't understand. PJ Walker is probably on the bench going, well, I got benched because I did that. How that ball caroms. First of all, I didn't get a wide field view. Maybe somebody in the chat room did. About who he was throwing the ball to, but it deflected, went in another direction, and fell into Amari Cooper's arms. Clayton Tune in the first half was, I can name that tune in 2 plays. Basically a 27.1 quarterback rating. We know how hard it is to play on the road in the first game. This is no different than what DTR went through when he had to play on the road for his first NFL game against really good defense. Well, this is what's happened to Clayton Tune as well. He's thrown the interception, which was a nice interception by Denzel Ward. But on the rushing front, the Browns have rushed for 63 yards. Kareem Hunt's average 4.3, but Jerome Ford only 3.2. There are going to have to be opportunities in the passing game to give us the effective running game that we need. And it's a one-dimensional football team. And I hate to say this, but the offense has been not very good passing the ball. since Kevin Stefanski came here. They keep running the stat about, the running game average 4.9 yards, and this, during the Stefanski years. And, it's like, fine, I understand that. We had some good offensive linemen, and we had a great running back. But I don't see anybody putting any stats up for Kevin Stefanski's offense during this same multi-year period. So it's just not good enough. It's not good enough to beat good teams. It may be good enough to beat the Arizona Cardinals with a rookie quarterback playing his first game, but we're not going to be competitive against the Ravens. And I just, I don't know what to tell anybody at this point, except this isn't the Deshaun Watson who played for the Texans. And I think he's messed up. I think that it's at a point where between having to constantly check down to tight ends, I mean, on a fourth down play, he's throwing the ball to a tight end in a very tight situation where he has to keep the ball low. He threw it a little bit too low, and tight end isn't going to come up with that. Elijah Moore, besides catching one pass, doesn't help you whatsoever. Is the reason Donovan Peoples-Jones was returning punts because we don't want flags on special teams that seem to happen all the time with this team? There are things that have been the case now for too many damn years. The guy who's returning the punts, Prosch, is doing a really good job. And it makes you wonder, why was DPJ back there in the first place? It does make you wonder. Somebody's got to be able to do a better job. But, when a special teams player just holds in front of an official, it seems like, when we return punts, 80% of the time, there's a 10-yard flag, and it's not good enough. And I see the same thing, Wable, that he's moving his arm around. But the real question is, he's never had an arm injury before in his life. I'll say this. I remember the first time that I tore a meniscus in my knee, and I was playing tennis when it happened, and had to get the surgery. And, I was scared to death, man. When I had to go back out on the court, it didn't feel right. I was afraid it was going to give again. Same thing with the knee replacement. It was like you try to get back on the tennis court. I started out just hitting in the middle 1/3 of the court, so I didn't have to do a lot of side-to-side motion. It takes something that will make him realize that he can do this. But until then, he doesn't believe it. And he looks like a quarterback who doesn't believe he can do it. Not a guy who can't, who isn't capable of doing it. He just looks like somebody to me who doesn't believe he's ready to do it yet. And that's between the ears is right, Mark Ross. Just like the Cade York thing was between his ears. There was no reason why one kick would go straight and another one would just hook dramatically, except he wasn't hitting the ball correctly and he had no confidence in doing it. No different than throwing from, second base to first base if you're Steve Sachs and you just suddenly lose the ability to throw the ball there, or Chuck Knobloch. It's the same kind of thing. I say this is in his head. Isn't that funny that Joshua Dobbs is in the game anyway, because they started, Tyler Heineke, and he's out with a concussion. No, Hall, I'm sorry, is out with the concussion, and Dobbs is now playing with the Vikings. I'm telling you this, it's a damn good thing that Dobbs wasn't playing against us today. This game is too close, and, we're not looking like we're going to be getting into the end zone anytime soon. Something's got to happen. I was hoping when he threw the ball deep to Amari Cooper, that would make him realize I can air the ball out. But it seems in the short drops and in the definitive drops, we're planting the back foot and having to really come through on a pattern out to the sidelines, it's just not there. And until it's there, you're not going to be a competitive football team because we don't have a good enough running game to be exclusively a running football team. I don't think anybody in the NFL is that good. At any rate, it could be worse. We're up 13-0 at the half. We get the ball to begin the second half. Let's see if we can do something. And I'm going to be back again after the game, and I'll be analyzing what happens in the second half and see if anything better happens to Watson or if Watson even comes out to play quarterback in the second half. At this point, none of us can be sure of anything. I got to get moving too. Thanks a lot for tuning in. See you after the game. Until then, hasta la vista, Pastureheads.